Introduction. For some reason, one of the hardest things for a human to do is to eat right. Whether that is because we have limited access to resources in all areas, or if it is because simply we have too much access to unhealthy food. There are many reasons that eating healthy is a challenge. Sure, we can eat just about anything and it will sustain us. We will manage to move from one moment to the next and be able to call ourselves healthy. But is it really healthy to subsist on a diet of processed foods and sugary drinks? Just because we are alive does not mean that we are healthy. And the older we get, the more our bad habits begin to catch up with us. It is unbelievably important to form healthy eating habits early on in life, or at least as early as possible to prevent any future issues from occurring. You do not want to wake up one day and realize that you have had a nutrient deficiency for years and it is causing complications that are almost impossible to rectify. All of us need to take more responsibility for what we put into our bodies, because if we don't, it can become extremely dangerous. Of course, when we are older and we are able to look back on our mistakes, hindsight is 20/20. We realize that there were things that we could have done and probably should have done that we simply didn't do, because we were either unconscious of the ill effects or simply lazy. Just having the simple knowledge does not necessarily make them a need to do something health conscious a reality. For the most part, it takes us truly being exposed to the suffering that can occur because of bad health choices before we are actually more conscious of the way we treat our bodies and our health in general. When we aren't able to see the reality of the consequences of our actions, it can make them feel very far away and difficult to relate to. We may even blow them off entirely. This can be a very debilitating place to find yourself in, especially when you are already dealing from the side effects of poor eating and a lack of a healthy diet. Everybody deserves a chance to become the greatest version of themselves possible. But if we are not even acknowledging the fact that unhealthy eating can take us right off course, even in the present moment, then we are ultimately waving goodbye to the best future possible. But all of this can change. By getting into this training, you are going to understand the importance of eating healthy and how food impacts our bodies and functions. Without understanding exactly why our bodies react to food the way they do, it can sometimes be difficult to stay on track. But there are many ways that you can begin to understand why eating healthy foods is so important, and exactly how to begin on a healthy eating journey. Let's not waste any more time. We should begin eating healthy today. Why eat healthy? Healthy eating is important for a lot of reasons. Most of us are already aware of the increasing obesity epidemic in North America. This is particularly true of the United States in general. There is even a phrase of the way many Americans eat, and that is called the SAD diet. SAD stands for Standard American Diet, and refers to a diet low in vegetables, high in fat and sugar, and lacking in nutrition. Processed foods are definitely a part of the SAD diet. These are foods that are easily available and quick to consume and prepare, but have long-lasting negative health effects. If you do not want to find yourself obese, it is generally considered a good idea to avoid eating such processed foods and keep your focus on eating whole grains and fruits and vegetables, and meat that has not been treated with hormones or other chemicals that can ultimately end up in your body and cause issues. Unfortunately, in North America, we are given a lot of options to slack off when it comes to preparing meals. We have so many things readily available to us, and the amount of money that you have to spend to buy bad food is far less than it is to buy good food. It seems strange that it costs more money to buy organic than it does to buy foods that will ultimately cause health problems in the long run. But that is the rule of supply and demand. Not only that, but processed foods are mass-produced and make a huge profit because of their convenience. That is why in many ways the obesity epidemic in North America is not particularly surprising. Nutrition is not number one on the list of companies that are attempting to cash in on people's laziness in the kitchen. However, there are many ways that eating healthy is important, and good reasons to avoid processed foods and the standard American diet. For example, if you do not want to be obese, you should definitely look into the rest of this training for ways to improve your diet and begin a healthier lifestyle. Another reason to eat healthy is because you can make yourself prone to diseases by eating unhealthy foods and by staying on a standard American diet that is full of fat and sugar. Diabetes is something that can be developed because of poor eating and can oftentimes be treated with healthy eating. Type 2 diabetes is ultimately something that can be maintained and controlled with proper eating habits and triggered by poor eating habits. If you want to avoid these types of difficulties and complications, you should do your best to be conscientious about your food choices. Other diseases can result from poor eating as well. High blood pressure is common, as well as other chronic diseases. Osteoporosis is something that can affect many people later in life because they were not making healthy eating choices earlier on. You may find yourself suffering from poor bone health, hypertension, or even heart problems, all of which can be very demanding on your body and cause major stress that can ultimately be very dangerous. If you want to show your family that you care about them, you should begin making choices now that will help you to stay in their lives for as long as possible. Poor health is not something that only affects you. It is also something that affects the people around you. If they are watching you suffer because of poor choices that you have made, in a way, that is quite selfish. They are suffering too. Now, do your best to make the choices that will be the best not only for yourself, but for your family in the long run. This training will show you how.